Coming up on this episode of One-on-One Sports,
We take a look at the NBA Christmas matchups
discuss what each college football playoff team should get for Christmas,
and spend some time sitting down with Elon's 9th president.
all that and so much more
And it all starts
right now.
Hello and welcome to this holiday episode and season finale of One-on-One Sports.
Before we get into this very special episode, Matt and I are going to kick things off with the quick hitters. The San Francisco 49ers released linebacker Reuben Foster last week, but he was quickly picked up by the Washington Redskins. Foster had been suspended at the beginning of the year for a domestic violence arrest and is currently on the commissioner's exempt list. Matt, how is this guy still in the league, and should Roger Goodell take action to not allow him back?
Reuben Foster, just like Ray Rice, just like soon-to-be Kareem Hunt, should not ever be allowed to play in the NFL again. This is absurd. I understand what the Redskins did. If you look at it, they claimed him, which is not the end of the world. And they're saying he can't play until all the due process carried out, which is okay.
Yeah, okay.
But just the fact that they claimed him, NFL owners, NFL execs are saying this makes the entire league look bad, and they're right. It does make them look bad.
I agree. They made a terrible decision. It shows they have no moral compass. They heard a side of the story that is different. Okay, it's a bad judgment call for them no matter how they try to look at it. I don't know why he should be allowed back, but, this is the team that signed Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, but without getting into that, it is absurd that Josh Gordon was only allowed to play 6 games from 2015 to 2018 for substance abuse.
Yeah.
While Reuben Foster has missed a game or 2 games and went unclaimed for like 2 hours. It is absurd that Josh Gordon was punished to the fullest extent of the NFL suspension policy, while Reuben Foster was not at all.
I know, it's ridiculous because you see people do far less worse things, and we'll leave some people unnamed for just lack of debate, But Reuben Foster, this is inexcusable. And as you mentioned, Ray Rice, as you mentioned, Kareem Hunt, soon to be, should never be allowed to play in this league. And it's just a dumb, boneheaded move by the Redskins.
I completely agree. Reuben Foster is not the only player in the news recently. Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt was placed on the commissioner's exempt list as well, and then released by the team on Saturday following a video surfacing that showed him physically attacking a woman in a hotel. This video is eerily similar to that of Ray Rice. So Andrew, did the Chiefs set a precedent with this action for the future?
I think they did, but it was a very poor precedent. Other teams will probably catch on to it as well. I think the biggest mistake they made, though, was not talking to Hunt or the victim before deciding to cut him as well. But, they're doing their best to, damage control the situation. So do I think they set a precedent? Yes, I do. Do I think they set the best precedent? No.
When you first look at this, right, and I know you feel the same way, it looks like the Chiefs did the right thing. It seems like, this came out, we cut him immediately. Here's the problem. This happened in February. And the other 2 incidents that recently came out happened in January. They only cut him because TMZ released the video and now it's to the public. They didn't question him. They didn't talk to the victim. They barely made any attempt, the Chiefs or the NFL.
It just seemed like a knee-jerk reaction.
This was a train wreck. This is terrible. And they look good because of it, because they cut him so quickly. They completely blew this up. This is terrible. The Chiefs did a horrible job.
So my question to you, Matt, now is, do you think we'll ever see Kareem Hunt play, another snap in his life for a team in the future? Will we?
I don't. And it doesn't matter to me how this goes in court, if this even goes to court, because we saw it with Ray Rice. He ended up, satisfying things with the woman. They got married, whatever, but he never played again because of their reputation. Yeah. The quote I saw from an ESPN article is this, and this is what I want to leave this question with. The question from the NFL should have been, what did they know and when did they know it? Instead, it was, what did they want to know and when did they decide they had no choice but to know more?
Yeah, it kind of sounded like a giant PR blow up to me, but maybe they were hiding some information that we didn't know, as
Absolutely.
You said. The New York Islanders made headlines when they debuted their all-female broadcast team in their latest game against the Washington Capitals. Matt, this has been a long time coming, so when will we see more female broadcast booths in other sports?
More lighthearted question. This is great.
Yeah,
I love to see this.
Yeah.
And there are so many already great female reporters and broadcasters in sports. I'm thinking Doris Burke, Hannah Storm, Michelle Tafoya, just to name a few. They're so good. And the fact that they're having an all-female broadcast for a men's game it shouldn't even be a second thought.
Yeah.
I know it's a big deal, but it shouldn't even
It's
be.
absolutely amazing. I know we don't talk about WWE a lot, kind of flirt the sports and entertainment line, but they just hired their first full-time female broadcaster, Renee Young, week to week doing their main flagship show on NBC Universal and USA. And it's great that we see people like, as you mentioned, Doris Burke and Renee Young, for example, break the mold of what a female broadcaster is, and I think we're going to see it very, very soon.
Doris Burke is great. They're all great, and there's no reason this shouldn't have happened sooner.
Yeah, definitely.
Islanders, good on you. The NHL announced today that hockey will be coming to the beautiful city of Seattle for the 2021-2022 season. Andrew, what does this mean for the city right now, and what does it mean going forward?
I think it's fantastic because it's a fun expansion that'll make the NHL rather. Sorry, I still got NFL on my mind. NHL only more interesting. I mean, we looked at teams like Vegas that won their conference last year in their first year because they actually put in effort to build this expansion team.
Do you think that Vegas' success led to a new franchise so quickly? Is that a big reason?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. It could be just the appeal of having a new team and seeing, veterans like Andre Fleury and all them, get a second chance on a team and see these new up-and-comers as well. But I don't think that's the driving factor here. I think Seattle's a great city to push there. They've had a team in the past, and now they probably have 4 major teams in all 4 major American sports now, which is amazing. Only good for the city, I think.
Expansion drafts are hard, and that's just plain and simple. They're hard to go successfully, and the NHL did such a good job with the Knights that they said, well, let's do it quickly. Let's do it again. 32, nice even 32 like the NFL. And you mentioned it, the Sounders, the Mariners, the Seahawks. Seahawks are one of the best fan bases in the entire NFL, as do the Sounders for the MLS. They're going to play in Key Arena, which will be renovated. That's where the Supersonics used to play. It's a beautiful stadium. Seattle deserves this. They also deserve the Supersonics back.
Yeah, I was going to say, all they need is just the Supersonics back, and maybe KD will come back. Who knows?
I do want to throw this in there, though. So some potential names. These are all names that they actually talked about. These are some of the best ones.
Yeah.
Seattle Emeralds, the Evergreens, Firebirds, the Seattle Kraken, Seattle Rainers, the Renegades, Sea Lions,
Well, don't
Seals.
forget they were also called the Metropolitans, but they didn't want to be known as the Seattle Mets. I think the Emeralds is probably the best name out there. The Emerald City, fantastic. Gives off a nice green aesthetic as well. So,
well, that is all the time we have with the Quick Hitters.
When we get back, we'll discuss the NBA's biggest games during the holiday break. As much as Thanksgiving belongs to the NFL, Christmas Day is a gift for NBA fans. Every season we see some big matchups, some naughty, some nice. This year is no exception. I'm joined by Evan and Noah to preview the juiciest games of Christmas Day. So, Evan, we'll start with the Rockets and the Thunder. Who do you got?
Oh, the Thunder. The Rockets have not been a great team this year, and the Thunder have been the best defensive team in the league. They have they're ranked first in defensive rating. So right there, they're a hard team to play. They're the home court on Christmas Day. The home court wins, I think, about 58% of 58% of their games, the home team. So they already have an advantage there, and they're just a better team in general, They have Russell Westbrook, who always likes to show up for big games, national TV games. He's guaranteed to get a triple-double on Christmas Day.
I disagree. I think that around Christmas time is around the teams that haven't been playing well and are really the type of teams they're going to finish better than they're playing. And that's kind of the Rockets and vice versa. The Thunder are decent. They're not they're definitely going to make the playoffs, but I think they're outperforming what they really are.
You really
and I think
they're outperforming?
I do. I think they're not. I don't think they're going to finish
Why
as well as
they're outperforming what their record is right now?
Because the West isn't playing as well. Other teams in the West haven't been playing as well as they usually. For example, the Rockets are not even in the playoffs right now. I just think around Christmas with premier game, I think the Rockets are going to go back. They're not going to be as good. They were.
All right, we'll move on. And Noah, the 76ers are going up to Boston to face the Celtics. Who do you got?
100% the Celtics. I don't know if you saw the other night. Gordon Hayward had 30 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists off the bench. That is, I think that's, with him playing that well, I think he's going to continue. That was a huge confidence booster. The Celtics have always had the Sixers number, especially at home. I don't think this is going to be that close. Even with Jimmy Butler there, I definitely give it to the Celtics.
See, Jimmy Butler right there. I think Jimmy Butler is going to make the biggest difference here because, he's hit 2 game winners from the same exact spot on the court. Who says you can't hit another game winner from the same exact spot on Christmas Day? Give a little treat to NBA fans. I just think the addition of Jimmy Butler really propels them to be a top 2 team in the East with the Celtics. But I know the Celtics have been struggling. They're going to get it together. They have way too much talent not to. But I just think that the Jimmy Butler trade really propels the Sixers because it gives them another dynamic. It allows them to continue their switchy type offense that they've had so much, or defense that they've had a lot of success with in the past. Robert Covington is he's an incredible defender, but Jimmy Butler is also he's obviously a much better two-way player because his offense is way above Robert Covington. So that's just why I think that Jimmy Butler just makes the biggest difference for the Sixers, and I think it'll show on Christmas
So we'll
Day.
move on to the final matchup: the Lakers at the Warriors. Evan.
The Warriors. The Warriors have been the best team in basketball since before Kevin Durant came to them, since they won 73 games. And Steph Curry's coming back healthy. They'll have Draymond Green back healthy by then. They still have a deep roster. I mean, it's the Warriors. Come on. How do you see the Warriors?
You say that so confidently, but the Lakers are only a game back right now. I think that LeBron is more motivated than the Warriors. I mean, it's another game for the Warriors. They've won 2 in a row.
Is it another game? I mean, they love playing LeBron on Christmas.
But it's not LeBron and the Cavs. I don't think they care as much as LeBron.
He's still their number one competitor for the past 5 years.
So it's more like the LeBrons versus the Warriors.
In a way.
I mean, the Lakers are the LeBrons this year. Come on, we know that. LeBron's been carrying them all season. They wanted their young guys to step up. Magic was like, yeah, this won't be the same as the Cavaliers of years past. This is the exact same. LeBron's bringing up the ball, passing it, rebounding, dunking.
I just think you're not giving them enough credit. I mean, the Warriors are definitely going to be favored. I just think they're only a game back. Draymond will be coming back, but it might take him a little while. But I still think the
they're
Lakers.
only a game back because of injuries.
Well, that's all the time we have left, but when we come back, we'll discuss the madness surrounding the college football playoffs.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs, just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
Danse, balance la cadence, ondule bien tes hanches, au bal du dimanche.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
I'm now joined at the desk by Drew Gentry and Evan Piercy for a little holiday gift giving for our final 4 teams in the college football playoff. First of all, Evan, number 1 seed Alabama, what do they need?
Well, I'm going to give them a nice, healthy ankle for Tua. Heisman finalist. You want him healthy, you need him healthy, and you need him healthy if they want to win.
I'll definitely give you that ankle. They definitely need that the most out of anybody. But I'm going to give them some coal because they were naughty all year. They absolutely destroyed every single team they played, and it's not even fun to watch. They did have a battle with Georgia, but it's just not really fun to watch them. If they're going to go to Oklahoma, I think it's a shootout, but I just don't think they deserve any presents. They already have everything they need.
Alabama was so good they get coal. That's not how it works. Doesn't matter. Clemson, who do you got for them?
Clemson, I got a ticket to Santa Clara. Going to the national championship game, definitely not going to get beat by Notre Dame. Don't see a reason for that to even be a matchup, really. That's not even going to be close.
I have to go Jalen Hurts. So he was god-awful in last year's national championship game. If Clemson wants a chance to win, they have to have him playing for Alabama. So for them, you got to give them Jalen Hurts.
All right, so let's talk about Clemson's opponent then, Notre Dame. What do they need?
Four-leaf clover. Notre Dame really needs the luck of the Irish if they want to get past Clemson and even get past Alabama. We saw them back in 2013 in the national championship game against Alabama when they were undefeated, and it just wasn't even close. They weren't even playing the same game, so they need the luck of the Irish.
I like the luck of the Irish, but I'm going to give them a certificate to join any Power 5 conference they would like. One, because there's no reason for them not to be in a conference. They go to the playoffs. They're known as a recognizable team, dominant college football program. Why aren't you in a conference? Come join one.
I just think that it's like a tradition at this point, and they've joined in every other sport. Is that going to happen? Are we ever going to see Notre Dame join a conference?
I think they need to. I don't think they're going to be really taking
I think
it
they should
seriously.
join either the Big Ten or the ACC. You already played an ACC schedule.
Join the ACC. Just give Clemson some challenge.
Yeah. I think almost that they give a better case for themselves, right, with the conference because they just play that extra game. Would love to see them play Clemson in the ACC championship.
Absolutely.
Guys, the last team just snuck in under the radar because they won the championship game on the last weekend. Oklahoma. Drew, what do they need?
I'm giving them a lock because they need to be able to lock down Alabama's offense and show that the Big 12 might be able to play defense. I don't know. That's a toss-up there.
Big ask.
Yes, I couldn't bring my name because they're actual people, but it's Albert Huggins, Justin Foster, Xavier Thomas, and Niles Pickley. They are also the backup defensive line for Clemson, and they are better than Oklahoma's defensive line. So you need these in your Christmas stocking when you come down on Christmas morning for any hope of beating Bama.
I think both of ours go hand in hand a little bit.
It was like 111th, right, for the country. Great picks, guys. College football playoff going to be very exciting. So all coming out for this gift-giving segment, we have one more gift to give. For our executive producer, Evan Piercy, on his last show of the year, this is for you. Don't spend it all in one place, all right?
I'll try not
When we
to.
come back, Andrew will be sitting down with a very special guest. You don't want to miss this.
Welcome back to this holiday episode of One-on-One Sports. I am joined by a very special guest, Elon's ninth president, Dr. Connie Book. President Book, thank you for joining us. What an honor it is to have you here.
Thank you
we're
for
going to talk
having
about
me.
some of your favorite sports moments from your childhood, from your, up to now. So we'll start. What were some of your favorite teams growing up?
Well, I grew up right in the shadow of LSU. And I went to LSU as an undergrad. And so Dale Smith, the basketball coach, was a legend, and Pete Maravich. We were a basketball family. And Shaquille O'Neal played at LSU.
Can't forget,
So there were lots of moments there. I will say that my experience in football, too, was a big thing at LSU. The LSU Tigers. And when I was a freshman, that was my first experience in Death Valley, which is what we called the stadium. And it's a mega tailgating culture with lots of good Cajun food. And so the summer, I started college during the summer. And it just so happened that in my first class at LSU, there were a lot of football players because they take classes in the summer.
Yeah.
And I just remember being 17 years old, and these were big guys coming into class. And they hardly ever spoke. But what I remember is one of my professors, because they had not spoken all semester, and one of my professors, one of the football players near the end of the summer raised his hand to make a comment, and my professor was like, Sean, before you say anything, all of these students in class have been imagining you to be something. So before you talk, think about whether you want to say anything or not.
That's what it's like, kind of having kind of pseudo celebrities in your class.
So we were all
from your adolescence, from your growing up, from your upbringing, what was the biggest moment you've ever witnessed in sports?
Personally witnessed, it would have been around, around the living room. I've never been at like a big live event where something happened. But I will say that every Halloween in Louisiana, it's still a tradition that LSU, there was a big run where a football player won the game by making a 90-yard run. And every Halloween, they still show it. And this is like from the 60s. and I still, we'd all sit around and celebrate this run that happened in the 60s.
So it's pretty much kind of just a legendary moment.
Yeah, tradition.
And really quick, if you had one favorite player from any sport, who would it be?
I hate to say this on TV, but I will go ahead and say it. I really like J.J. Redick.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he played basketball at Duke. He was such a good player and
still is.
Still is, and actually having a remarkable professional season. But he is like a good, well-rounded player. And
definitely.
I always respected the way he played on the court too, and I had a chance to go see him, and so he's a great player.
Well, we found out everything about Dr. Book and your favorite players
right?
as well, and that's all the time we have. But don't go anywhere because Matt will be right back with President Book.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
I don't know what's happening. Start a new chat. What did I do? Okay. Wow. That is so weird.
Hey! Hi!
Oh my gosh. Hi! God, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm so nervous. Gia, you're so big. Come closer to the camera. Wait, now you're in my face. That was so good.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
For you.
They want to help, but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
And we are back with President Connie Book. So we've seen you all over Elon sporting events. I want to take a moment to discuss athletics and academics working together on a college campus and how the two girls kind of coexist and build each other up. So how has Elon been able to find success both academically but also athletically on the court and on the field?
I do think you've said something important, and that is that you talk about academics and athletics, and that's why we say student athletes. And first is student, because the primary mission of Elon University is to provide an education. But I like the student athlete aspect of the athlete because they are in the middle of leadership development as student athletes, on the field and off the field, because they have to execute a lot of personal leadership in not only having excellence in the classroom, but having excellence on the field, being a good teammate, working to balance a really challenging schedule, lots of games and travel. So I've always been really excited and proud of our student athletes. I tell you what else that I've really enjoyed is watching our coaches.
Yeah.
Our coaches really do provide such great leadership. Like I went to the Duke game when the women played a couple of weeks ago, and I was listening to Coach Smith, and I was sitting right behind the players, and she is fiercely competitive, and she's getting them to stay in the game, and to lead, to shake off their nervousness. You know, they ran a new setting, and you know, the crowd there was a Duke crowd and not an Elon crowd. And she's encouraging them, shake that off, lead, keep pushing, keep competing. You know, and that personal leadership on the court. And she is such a person of integrity too, and teaching them about, you know, making the right choices in their life in total. So they become not just coaches about basketball, but coaches for life.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing. We see so many players who look up to their coaches, not just in sports, but in the whole world as like a mentor, and that's so great to see. As we move forward in athletically and academically, what are some of the challenges you think that Elon could face in that vein?
Well, I think everyone is watching the NCAA really closely right now. In fact, in my contract to be a president, there is a clause that I'm required to sign that says that I understand that I'm obligated to the NCAA guidelines and ensuring that those are executed on our campus as a Division I college president. I do think people are watching to see what about basketball. We just came out of the commission that Condoleezza Rice led that basketball commission, and we're watching to see if the NCAA and how they'll engage in the recommendations there. I think we're watching players, want to execute some rights especially in the larger Division I schools. You know, the most influential ones are making a lot of money on video games and other things using those players' likeness, and so I think we're seeing a disrupted environment right now in athletics. And to be quite honest, there's nothing more important in the execution of athletics than that it is fair, that it's with integrity, that our recruiting on college campuses is done with integrity and transparency, that we know what's happening. You know, I'm just going to say, as college president, the thing that really I've paid close attention to over the last few months is the visibility we have of what's happening in athletics. Right. Now, at Elon, we have low walls, so you know I'm in good relationship. But you saw what happened at Michigan State and Penn State before that, and when people don't have visibility and are not acting with transparency, those create conditions that, quite frankly, are not good for student athletes, and so. I'm grateful to be at Elon, a place where there's low walls, and I think that that's part of my responsibilities as president, is to make sure I know what's happening across campus.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, President Book, happy holidays, and thank you so much for coming on. That's all the time we have for this block, and all the time we have with President Book. We here at 101 extend a huge thank you for President Book for coming on tonight, and I'll be sitting down to discuss the best coach statements made about themselves with Andrew up next.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. To get in the holiday spirit, Matt and I wanted to go play outside in the snow. Since it's 50 degrees and sunny outside, we took a look at the best snow games in sports instead. So Matt, what snow game is the best?
All right, 1982, Pats Dolphins. The final score, we'll start with that, was 3-0 Pats, which is a very snow game score.
Fantastic.
Night before, freezing rain froze over the field. The day of the game, though, you get a foot of snow. Yeah. So this is up in, first of all, Massachusetts, Foxborough. So we already have the Dolphins, who are not a snow team. To get that that field goal at the end of the game, you remember the snowplow came in. You know, that was natural. The snow had been plowed the whole game, but he goes right to the spot that the kicker needed. That was the kicker, John Smith, right to the spot where he wanted the football, plowed it off and left for a nice soft spot for the kick. Dolphins ended up protesting that game. They lost.
Oof.
Controversy.
You know, Miami fans salty about all the snow, but I'm going to go with the classic, the Ice Bowl, 1967 NFL championship game. But that is not the NFL championship game we're used to today. This team would send the winner into the Super Bowl, the second Super Bowl. And it was the Cowboys and the Packers. And we talk about these big-time matchups on one-on-one sports. We love talking about Brady or Rodgers, LeBron or MJ. What about Tom Landry and Vince Lombardi, two of the best coaches of all time? The Packers beat them 21-17, went on to decimate the Raiders in Super Bowl II, and had a fantastic comeback by Bart Starr, dubbed the Drive, and capped off with the block and a score by Donnie Anderson to win the game and send them to the Super Bowl. Fantastic, still immortalized to this day. One of the best games of all time.
And on top of all of that, snow everywhere, winter wonderland. Except it was freezing. I'm getting cold just thinking about it.
Exactly. Well, that's all the time we have for this holiday season finale of One-on-One Sports.
A huge thank you to all our producers, crew talent, and of course you, the viewer, for tuning in.
If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and YouTube, all at One-on-One Sports.
Until next time,
whose side are you on?